How's it going, guys? It's Rafi from Beyond the Huddle, and welcome to this week's Bitcoin forecast. As always, I'll get started by talking about the SMI. That's the sentiment indicator for the market as a whole, for the spot market using exchange data. Then we'll move on to the COT. That's where we take a look at the asset managers, the big players in the leverage markets, and then we can move on to the price action to take a look at the volume and the price using our indicators. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, guys, so getting started here with the SMI, that's the sentiment market data, right? And as you can see, not much has changed. We are still in a distribution mode. Obviously, you can see that sometimes during the rally here, the market actually, you see how it doesn't print any bars here. That means that it went from a very aggressive distribution to almost literally no distribution, and then again, you could say that led to those rallies, but the idea behind this, when it stays, distribution like this, is that your time to make decisions was, if we go up a little bit more, a few days or weeks back, your time to make decisions, let's just go here. Your time to make decisions is when the market is either in accumulation or strong accumulation. For me, I like to wait for the strong accumulation because I want to give myself the highest probable chance of prices making a low. And usually when it's strong accumulation, as you guys have seen, it really is a low. The green accumulation, it could still move lower with that, but the blue is really a big deal. So we buy, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks ago, back when it was in strong accumulation. And then now that we're seeing the distribution hitting the market, we're, at least myself, I'm not trying to add any more positions. I'm just trying to manage what I already have. And I should be on high alert, waiting for any daily or weekly models to turn back bearish. And I'll show you guys in price a little bit later how that looks, because I think we're starting to get a daily model turning bearish here on Bitcoin. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on that. And those daily and weekly models, using our BTH volume profile indicator, that will then dictate how far the retracement goes and what you should be expecting. Now, then during that retracement, you'll see, oh, look, like right here, right? Market pumps, distribution goes high, so then the market stalls out, right? And then as it retraces, then you look at your SMI right here, and you can see it basically went down to nothing, right? So that means the market cooled off. Now, it didn't hit accumulation or strong accumulation. It actually went neutral, which is the white bar right there. So you guys can start to see how I'm starting to trade here. So for now, I'm not entering any positions, and I'm just riding the wave higher on the altcoins that I have, while maintaining the idea that at any moment, if the market breaks these daily and weekly models, we can have a large flush to the downside, and then I'll start looking at the SMI to see if there's accumulation or strong accumulations to start making decisions again. So I hope you guys can follow that right there. And as you can see, that was a short-term SMI. This is the long-term SMI. So again, they're both confirming each other. They're both saying long-term and short-term players are looking to distribute during this entire rally, and they have been distributing during the entire rally. So again, be very, very careful, because that's how you get these long accumulations, consolidations, and then you get those BART style patterns, right, that everyone likes to talk about, or half of Batmans, I've heard them called, or inverted half of Batmans, or BART, whatever you guys want to call them, but where they just go up, consolidate, and then boom, they fall out of bed. So again, very, 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 very careful, and we will update you guys. So let's move on to the COT. Okay, guys, so moving on to everyone's favorite part, and really the largest alpha that you can find for macro trends here is the COT, where we get to keep track of the asset managers every single week. And guys, this is such important data because by law, they have to report their positions. So they cannot hide from you. It might be, a couple days delayed, but it's still very valuable data, as these guys don't really switch their positions back and forth all the time, okay? Can it happen? Of course, but not. They don't switch their bias all the time, okay? They have a lot of money, and it takes a long time for them to get into position. So either way, here we have the asset managers increased by 332 contracts, and the asset manager shorts actually declined by 86 contracts. So that was the big one here, that they decreased their shorts by 86 contracts, because as you can see here now, the longs went up from 86.48, I think, to 88.52. So that's quite the increase. And the part that makes me the most excited, what I've been talking about, what we've been waiting for, check this out. Their shorts are now below the average. So that's the step number one for us to expect it to behave sort of like what happened right here in May and June. And what I meant by that was, if you guys missed the point there, it's not really the amount of shorts that went down, because the market changes over time. There's more players or maybe less players. It's just that the line is below the average, and that's what I wanted to see, right? I wanted to see first back in January to confirm this low at this weekly demand. So we spoke about this, to confirm this low, or to start confirming it right there. I wanted to see a large drop in the shorts to go below the average. Check number one. And then after that, I said two things can happen. It'll act like September of 2020, where they never recovered. They just stayed below the average and boom, straight up, and you were percentage net long. Or they'll turn out kind of like what happened in May, not the percentage long. So the percentage longs were still bearish. That's way different than this time, where they're drastically percentage long, which is a very big deal. And that's why I never believed that this drop here was really a bear market drop, okay? That was one reason. But instead, look what happened here. A big drop, went below the average, and then they retraced back to the average, went above it a little bit. You can see right here. It's not exactly the same, right? History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So what happened here was a large decline below the average, and then above the average, below the average, above the average. So now the question is it going to be a nice move below it, where it does it kind of like right here, where it doesn't look back, or is it going to keep consolidating around it? Well, based on the way the market is expanding, I'm hoping that now we get some more follow through the next 2 to 3 weeks down, and you can already see with 1 week below the average, look at what's happening with prices, right? So we've been declining shorts ever since 3 weeks ago. And look at the weekly candles that that's led to. I'm telling you, this is one of the largest pieces of alpha that you guys can use in this market. And Misha's going to talk to you guys about the Ethereum one, which is even more exciting because that one controls the altcoin market, right? We already know that ETH BTC likes to be the middleman between the alts and Bitcoin. So if it's going to guide the altcoins, that's looking pretty promising already. So again, guys, exactly what we're waiting for. Shorts below average, longs are above average, they keep increasing, and now you can see right here that the percentage long, that keeps increasing as well. So with that being said, let's move on to the price and wrap this video up. Okay, so moving on now to the volume and price part of the video, using our BTH indicator and our other BTH indicator called the USDT bias. And for those of you guys who know what that is, that's this this green zone right here. And basically when the week starts, your only question is, are you above it or below it? If you're above it, then you're expecting that week to be bullish, to close above it. And obviously if you're bearish, you're expecting it to close below it, aka usually is bearish. Obviously in this specific point in time, the level is so far below that you can have a large drop and then you'd still be bullish, okay? So there's a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about. I keep mentioning, and I'm not going to go over quarterly levels or monthly levels, which tomorrow is the last day of the quarter, the last day of the month, which is why I don't really want to mention them, because I would have to go through a full breakdown on how that's, the current one and the previous one and all this other stuff using our indicators, and I saved that for the premium group. So I'll just talk to you guys about the potential reversal levels that can make me short-term bearish if they happen. So again, the first step is we're above this, okay? So I first want to be a buyer. I expect USDT prices to be bullish, okay? Now that's different than having your daily model, because this is all weekly stuff, right? Anything green is weekly, so this dotted line, that's my weekly value or high, my weekly value or low, okay? And then this is my weekly USDT bias. If we zoom in a little bit more, though, we can see a red dotted line right here and a red dotted line right there. So the idea is that when today opened right here, you were within yesterday's range, okay? So right off the bat, you should be expecting Bitcoin's price to consolidate between these two zones until it breaks below it. So you see right here how it broke below it. We call that bear trending. So that's what I was trying to say about the Bitcoin model starting to break down. There's a lot of distribution in the market, and now price is starting to confirm it. So the way it would work is for today alone, right? Because then tomorrow a new daily model will open up depending on how this candle today moved. Today alone, I would have been using this as resistance and this as resistance, right? And that's how, unless you went back above this right here, I would not have been wanting to expect Bitcoin to bull trend or move aggressively higher. If I double click on this right here, I'll show you guys right here. You can already see how yesterday, right, or 2 days ago, sorry, when that candle opened, so it opens right here, you see how you were already above the previous day's value area high? So you were above that zone. And what that zone was telling you is that it should be used as support and the market was going to trend aggressively higher. Well, look at that, right? And the market opens on that day and it trends about almost 3%. It wasn't a crazy move, but obviously if you were in some other altcoins, that's how you should be using that. If you know Bitcoin's going to be bullish, then you should be leveraging it on an altcoin that you think is going to outperform it using this same exact model right here, guys. That's the power in this, okay? So nonetheless, let's hide these again. We don't need them. So we only need one model back. So that's yesterday's model, and we use it today. So the idea is, as long as we stay below this yellow line, we want to be expecting the market to retrace. So the question is, where is it going to retrace to? Well, I'm glad you asked. That short-term retracement that I keep talking about, right, and the SMIs in distribution would cause us to come right back to the previous week's value area high. And look at that right there. So about a 4% retracement, and then the idea would be that as that retracement is happening, then maybe we would get a cooling off of the SMI that's been like this for quite some time now, and then we'd start to see some neutral levels and then some accumulation, and in a perfect world, we retrace down to this level as well, right? The value area low. And the idea here is, as long as we don't break this green zone and this value area low, I am not bearish on this market on a weekly time frame. Remember, the CLT is already below the shorts and average, so I'm not expecting, below the average in shorts, so I'm not expecting the market to be breaking support levels, right? Weekly supports levels, I want them to hold. If they break, then something's wrong. With them, that means we're in due for a larger retracement. And this is already a pretty beefy drop. I've been talking about this since Monday in our video, expecting about a 4 to 5, then 7, 8 here, and then now 10, 11% here, okay? So those would be my targets, and then I would be looking to see how the SMI reacts. And now remember, this is only valid if my daily models ever turn and stay bearish. At the moment, it is bearish, okay? So if it's bearish, boom, right? Now, another thing I want to mention is, let's get rid of everything here, is that when today closes, now that becomes, so let's say that the day closed right now. It closes in 4 hours or 2.5, whatever, or sorry, 3.5. But let's say it closed right now. You see how then tomorrow we'd be starting within today's range again. So you repeat the entire process and then you draw out that high, or you don't have to draw it out. We have this right here, extends the value area. So you can extend it, to the current price, and then boom, that's how it would work. And then again, as long as you cannot break above the value area high, you don't expect Bitcoin to start expanding and keep going higher and higher. And I can promise you, if you use these daily models back here every single day, you can back test it and see how you always use the value area high as support. And that's what kept value climbing higher and prices moving higher, okay? So right now we might have the opposite, where the daily model is bearish down to here, while the weekly model is trying to hold its bullishness. Now, if we do end up hitting this value area high, that's when the question becomes, are we going to use it as support, or what's going to happen? And again, there's a lot of different strategies that we can use to get into the market at that moment in time, but that's where I'll leave it for now. I don't want to confuse you guys, but I do want you to keep in mind and pay attention to these value areas right here. Depending what you guys, again, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. Just letting you know, I manage my trades on a weekly time frame. So for me to get out of this market and be bearish, right, to confirm the SMI, I would want to lose these two levels right here. So with that being said, guys, I hope you found some value in this. If you have any questions, feel free to join us on our Discord. It's free to join, come join, chill with the community and ask any questions you may have about any coins you may have. So if you find some value in this, share it with your friends, your family, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.